what's up? This is Tiny Love. My original name is Razvan Goria. I'm Romanian. I came to America in the 90s. I was actually in a Romanian revolution fighting the government before the Wall Street and all that. So yeah, I came in the 90s, and I started in the 80s. I started popping, and I seen that movie Breakdance, and that started me off. And you know, it was a communist country, so I stopped dancing because you didn't see no movies there. It was like just one channel on TV. And anyway, it was a communist country, you know. So once I got here, I started going to the clubs and start dancing again. I started doing a hip-hop dance in the 90s in Palladium. That was my first club. And from that, I started going to other clubs like Tunnel, Twilo. I'm a Limelight kid. I used to go to NASA, you know. All this is like clubs that, you know, a lot of the people from the 90s know about, you know. Like if you're from the 90s, you know those clubs, especially in the rave culture. So I got into the rave culture, and I started I'm one of the pioneers of liquid. And that, you know, that transferred to like digits, later on finger tuts, and, you know, popping, and, you know. But anyway, so I started going to the dance scene in the clubs in the 90s. And after that, I had a crew called Liquid Lights Crew. So you used to dance in the raves, and at one point I decided I don't want to dance in the rave no more, like on the floor, you know. So I just jumped on the stage. So I started dancing right next to the DJs, and you know, I mean, I danced on Roseland like 3-4 times in front of like 3,000 people, you know. So you know, I was doing that like in the 90s before like the popping came in and all this stuff. So my crew died out, and then I formed a new crew called Vibe Elements. And that was like Hypno, Tony Flo, Dr. Funk. And we were still going into the raves, but the raves started dying out, and you know, Mayor Giuliani destroyed a lot of like the dance world, where he came in with that dance police. So you couldn't actually dance in a club if you don't have a license for that. So you needed a license for dancing. It was called a cabaret license. It still is to this day. You need to pay for that. And they had a dance police. So they would come into your club and they see you dancing, they go to the owner and they take his license. Wow. So that's why they closed the club. And that's why the rave and the dance world died out in the 90s.
What, just to make money off of?
Yeah, to make money.
Buying a license?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it was, yeah. So it was they had a dance police back then, you know. And then, I mean, it became so bad, like even the promoters, they became so greedy. Like in the rave scene, you know, a lot of kids, they used to take drugs there, and they need water. A lot of them would OD because, you know, the promoters, they get greedy and shut off the water. And kids will like just OD because, you know, they like so hyped, go crazy. They would die on the floor. I mean, one night I went to this rave in, it was in Connecticut. So I seen this huge place, you know, I mean, huge circle. So I'm like, yeah, it's a battle, let me go in. It was a kid dying, and they had like ambulance, and they were giving him shocks in the middle of the body. And everybody
was still partying?
Yeah. Because, you know, it was crazy. And then as soon as I was like, oh man, I was like bugged out. And then I was like, I gotta get out of here. And then I see the cops coming in like from all these corners, shutting down the party. So, you know, I seen a lot of crazy raw like stuff in the 90s where like dancers now, a lot of dancers now, they think it's very like nicey, and for us it was like raw, like heavy duty, like hard. And, you know, even the battles back then was like, you know, you come in there battle, either you might get in a fight, or, you know, you win or you end up in a fight. But anyway, so after that, when the rave started dying out, me and my crew, we decided to leave that because, you know, it was so bad. So we started going into, my boy told me like, yo, let's go at Union Square, dance over there. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know. I kept saying, yeah, yeah. And one day it was like, okay, let's go. So one day this guy came up to me and says, I went to Union Square and I was dancing there with these 3 guys. I was depressed, and you know, these guys like rapping, and one of them with the drum set. And I started dancing there, and you know, we had fun, we had a little vibe. And he said, after that, he said, yo, you know this boombox here? He had a huge boombox. You know this boombox, I think you're gonna need this. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. You want it? Yeah. I was like, wow, I seen that boombox. Yeah, of course. Here, take it. So he gave it to me, but it wasn't working. So this, my friend from my crew, Dr. Funk, always tell me, yo, let's take the boombox, go outside Union Square and dance. Nah, I don't want to do it. Anyway, one day he looks at the boombox. He's like, yo, I can make this work. I'm like, nah, it's not working. He went to the back of it, and there was just like a knob that he had to turn on. The voltage, he turned it on from from voltage to battery. So the thing's not working. So once that happened, we went to Union Square. So me and my crew, these 4 guys, we end up at Union Square and start dancing there. And that was the first time ever in the 90s, after hip hop died out, that, you know, some kids start dancing on the street. We were those kids, you know. And I mean, there was the hitters that were still hitting. Like, you know, I have to say that the hitters were the ones that kept hip hop alive. It's not even the rappers, you know. It's like these hitters that kept going from the 70s, 80s, keep dancing, and the, you know, tourists keep coming in and seeing that, you know, they keep holding it down. But what we did, we did that, you know, like that movie Breakdance, where the kids were dancing on the street. That died out, that feeling. So well, that's what we did. We took that boombox. It wasn't good. We had like a few waves and did a little thing, a little robot. So anyway, we started dancing at Union Square with the boombox every Friday. So that was in 2000. First time that we started dancing there, people was like even looking at us. It was so weird, like we were on a different dimension from them. So me and my boy Hypno, we decided to dance, but like look in their face. So when they would walk around, we jump in their face and waves and shit like that. And then they like, oh shit, they start looking at us. And you know, after a while, we start creating a vibe. Our crew is called Vibe Elements. So that's what we did. We created a vibe at Union Square. So after, you know, a few months, years, at one point it became like 3 circles at Union Square. It was 3 circles, mad people, screaming, you know, it was like back in the days. In the beginning it wasn't like that, but then it picked up. So anyway, I did that with my crew for 10 years, you know, and that's how little by little people start seeing people dancing on the street. So that's what, you know, once that kind of like turned the wheels, especially in Union Square, you know. So anyway, after that, you know, we even had like riots there. The cops came with the helicopters after the 9/11. We were still dancing there. They came with the like riot gear to throw us out of there. No. Because, you know, after a while, when the 9/11 hit, they came out with that Patriot Act where you can have more than 10 people together. So the riot police came and, you know, they was like, nah, you gotta leave, get the fuck out of here. We're gonna arrest all of you. So anyway, my boy, OG B-boy, Break Easy, he told us, yo, don't worry about it. Let's just all leave for an hour and come back. So that's what we did. We all left and came back. And there was all this, what was funny that, this is a funny story, there was all these people with cameras filming us and taking pictures. And we thought we're gonna be on, at least they're gonna put us in the newspaper, you know? So the next day, I look in the newspaper, and in the New York Post, at the back, there was the weather section, and they had a kid doing a hollaback. Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing, man? All right.
This guy's amazing. This guy right here is amazing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. So they had a B-boy doing a hollaback, and they said, nice day in Union Square. Meanwhile, they had the helicopters. We were like fighting with these guys, and it was like, you know, so it was so weird. Like back then, I knew that, yo, there's something wrong with this government. Anyway, so that was like, you know, something like another story that I went through. So yeah, after this, we start doing, like, I started doing liquid, a lot of liquid, and I got into waving and popping and robot. Like, for me, like, the guy that helped me out with popping was Hypno, you know, and you know, I learned a lot of stuff from him, you know, and after some time, I started doing a lot of digits. Digits is like, you know, this style of rave dance, you know, and liquid, the same thing. It's a different style from waving. It's not waving. Waving came from West Coast, you know, so we in East Coast, we started doing this style of, it's kind of like a house with waves. It's a very mixed, you don't have to pop, you know, you just keep a continuous flow with like rails and contours, and, you know, they have their own foundation, liquid. So anyway, after that, I started like practicing in Brooklyn, and you know, I was still into fingers. I used to do a lot of finger like tricks and all kinds of stuff. So I came out with my own style of digits, which is called digits characters. I was influenced by, like, I used to watch like ninjas, like in those books, like ninjutsu. You know, they do all these like characters when they meditate. Certain characters, they say that you bring down the rain, or you, like, you know, you stop your breathing, and there's certain like meditation that you do. But you know, I was influenced by those finger characters. Like, they have all these characters, you know. So I started doing that a lot into my dance. So little by little, at one point, I came out with this thing called, like, it was like a box. It was kind of like a box from this, and I eventually ended up like this, and I opened it up,